Hello, my name is Silje, and today I would like to do the autumn book tag. I wasn't tagged by anyone because I'm completely new at this, but I thought the tag was pretty awesome, so I would like to do it anyway. So I've written down the questions and we'll see how it goes. The first question is, are there any books you plan on reading this season? And yes, it is. As I mentioned, no, I didn't mention it. I talked about it for way too long. I talked a lot about my reading experience of House of Leaves, and I'm planning on finishing it during this month. I also would like to reread Persuasion by Jane Austen. It's my favorite book by her. And I think it's the perfect blend of the sad and the mellow and the sharp and satirical and the criticism of the society of that time. So, yes, it's my favorite. I recommend it. I will also be reading a lot of Norwegian new releases next month. I have some of the books here. It's like some novels, some poetry, and there is a non-fiction book for kids about the witch hunt in Europe. There's also some some short stories. And if I get the time, I will also be reading Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Next question. September brings back to school memories. What book did you most enjoy studying? What is your favorite and least favorite subject? I read a lot of books or a lot of classics, Norwegian classics at school. And some of them has been translated and some of them has not. So I picked an author that I know has been translated and is widely known. And that's Henrik Ibsen. He wrote Peer Gynt and The Dollhouse, and he wrote Villan, I think is the Wild Duck. He wrote dramas in the more realistic genre and naturalistic genre, as well as dramas written in verse. And by the end of his life, he wrote several symbolic dramas, and this is one of them, and it's called Gjengangere, or Ghosts. And this is the story about a mother and her son. The father or her husband has died, and they feel like he is present in the house as a ghost. He was not a very nice man, and all his sins and all the things he was doing are infecting them and making especially the son mad. And it's also kind of a deterministic piece because it is like the son can never escape his father's sin. And I think this is amazing. And the end, even though it's not his medical accurate at all, it kind of fit the story, and this ending gives me goosebumps every time. So yes, Ghost by Henrik Ibsen. My favorite subject at school was and still is, because I'm a teacher, Norwegian. I loved the reading. I love to learn about the books or the literature. I love the writing. And I also love to learn about the language. And I still love to teach all these things. Another subject that I really enjoyed, both as a student and now as a teacher, is science. I was a pretty curious child. And I had to say, I'm still pretty curious. So science was very good for me. I think I like chemistry and biology best as a student. And now as a teacher, I tend to like the biology part the best. My least favorite subject was and still is, sadly, PE. The next question number 3. October means Halloween. Do you enjoy scary books and films? Do you have any favorites? And I don't read a lot of horror books. I have read like 2, I guess. I have read Ira Levin's Rosemary's Baby. I like that. And I also read Carrie. I thought it was a good book, but it did scare me. However, I love to watch scary movies. My favorite director by far is David Lynch, and he always managed to freak me out with all his unease and weirdness and all these crazy things happening, and I love him for it. He is just my kind of guy. I also like movies like Dario Argento's Suspiria, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, The Shining, Carrie, the original one, Mikael Hanskes, the Funny Games, and so many more. The Witch I saw recently. I found it to be very good. 7 is pretty disturbing. And The Conjuring made me scream in the movie theater for the first time in many years. Yeah, it's a lot. So this was some of them. Question number 4. With November, it's time for bonfire night and firework displays. What's the most exciting book you've read that really kept you gripped? I had to think about this question. I have read a lot of very good books the past years, but I had a hang up with the word exciting, because I tend to read books that are very character driven. And I was thinking like exciting, do you mean adventurous? But I went for the gripping part, so. And the book I thought about was this one. It's Thérèse Raquin by Émile Zola. This is a book written in 1867, and it's written in the naturalistic or the deterministic style. And it's about a young woman who is marrying her cousin, and they are moving to Paris. They live in this old store in this old narrow passage near Pont Neuf, and it's dark and bleak, and yes, it's not the life that Therese was looking for. And then she meets, I will see if I can find his name, Laurent, and she falls in love with him, and he falls in love with her, and they plan to kill Camille, and they do so, and that's not a spoiler. And after they have killed Camille, they hope that they will feel happy. They have a chance to be together, but then it's like Camille is haunting them in their dreams. They seem to get no time off from this haunted feeling that someone is getting closer to them and are exposing their crimes. And yeah, and this feeling is slightly driving them crazy. So yeah, it's not a happy story. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be a happy story either. It's engrossing, and I enjoyed it very much. Question number 5: What book is your favorite cozy comfort read? And here I had to think about it even more, because I like to reread books. I don't do it that often, but when I reread books, I don't reread the books that are comforting to me. Like have been rereading The Lover by Marguerite Duras several times, and this book is so well written. The prose is amazing, and the style and the voice, everything is just excellent. And the story itself about a young woman or young girl, she's like 14, I guess, and the love affair with this older Chinese man are, it's kind of sweet in a way, but it is a feeling that this is not a love story that will ever end happy. It's about how the society is reacting to her, the young girl, and how the family are trying to like make her a prostitute in some kind of way. But yeah, it's one of my favorite books. Another book that I reread a lot of times is Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, and there's nothing comforting or cozy about that book either. But it's a book that I like to go back to. So I had to go to my childhood to find a comforting read, and I ended up with Astrid Lindgren. She is the writer of Pippi Longstocking and Ronja the Robber's Daughter and the Brother Lionhearts and many other sweet and good stories. My favorite is Me and My Son, and this is the story about Bo. He's 9 years old and he lives with his foster parents, and they don't love him. He has never met his father, but one day he gets an apple from a grocery store lady. And while he's sitting in the park with this apple, it starts to glow, and suddenly he is in another country. No, another world. And in this world, he meets his father. He is a king, and he lives happy. He gets friends. He is loved, and everyone likes him. But then suddenly an evil knight turns up. He is taking all the children and transforming them into birds. And Mio, this guy, and his best friend Yum Yum is going to fight this evil knight. And yeah, the story is both sweet and a little bit sinister, and the illustration by Ion Wikland is just perfection. So is a good book, both to read for yourself and to read for kids, I think. The next question number 6. Curled up with a good book, what is your hot drink of choice? I like coffee. I drink coffee all the time, and I think I'm pretty caffeinated most of the time. I like my coffee black. Sometimes I can have a splash of milk, or sometimes even I drink mocha. But in the evening, and especially in the evening in the autumn time, I tend to drink tea. And right now I'm drinking some American mint green tea. It smells very minty and it tastes very fresh. And right now it's also pretty cold. So I have to make another cup. The last question is, any plans you're looking forward to over the next few months? And I have to say that September was a pretty busy month for me book-wise. I had a lot of fun with book blogger meetups, I met authors, I interviewed authors, and I was attending a lot of events. I know that the next month is going to be very busy work-wise for me. So I hope I can have the time to sit down and enjoy a good book, to write some blog posts. I have been a terrible blogger for some months now. I really enjoy making these videos, so hopefully I will do that as well. So this was my take on the autumn book tag. Hope you enjoy. See you next time. Ha det!